Welcome back, Fayettes and Fantasy Fiends, to Heir of Fire, chapters 19 through 26. You're listening to Book for Two. I'm Scott.
And I'm Genevieve. If you're new here, welcome to our brand of chaos.
We bring the male and female perspectives, the wild theories, the heated debates, and of course,
the couples banter you never knew you needed, but now can't escape.
She likes her books loaded with spice, sassy FMCs, and enough brooding fae males to start her own Magic Mike series.
And he likes his filled with epic lore, sword fights, and emotional damage he absolutely didn't sign up for, but now can't stop analyzing.
Every week, we deep dive into the books that wreck your soul and make you cancel plans. And right now, we are ripping through the entire Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas.
And once a month, we shake things up with a standalone read. Next up, Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I swear, it's happening. So if you love unhinged theories, emotional damage, and two readers yelling about their fictional obsessions, you're in the right place. Oh, and before we forget, let's talk about book club.
Yes, the date and next book have been chosen.
The next meeting is Monday, July 14th at 6 p.m. Central at Salt and Story in Niceville, Florida.
Locals, come hang out. It's free, it's fun, and we promise not to aggressively analyze the smut unless you want us to.
And for everyone not in the Panhandle, you can still join us on Discord. Same time, same chaos.
This month, we're tackling The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. So buckle up for gothic fantasy, fairy tale storytelling, and a book that takes a deep look into religion.
The link to join the Discord is in our show notes and on our socials. Just look for the Chaos Crew.
It's time for the Gin Rummy update, and there has been some movement. The score is now 2,365 to 2,323. Somebody's catching up.
We only got to play one day, but that one day helped me catch up to you. So, you know what? I bet I'll have the lead by next episode if we play.
Yeah, we'll make time to play, I promise.
Okay.
But yeah, good luck with that. So in other news, we have a ton of new merch available on our website, bookfor2.com.
We are talking t-shirts.
Treat yourself.
Mugs.
Treat yourself.
Notebooks.
Treat yourself.
And even vanity plates.
Treat yourself. More designs are coming, and if you want to help pick them or just hoard shiny things, that's all happening over on Patreon.
As always, thank you to everyone who supports us.
Also, we're doing a thing. We'll be at NerdCon in Crestview, Florida on Saturday, September 27th at the Community Center.
We'll have a table, merch, stickers, maybe some bookmarks, and yes, we're also doing a panel.
So, if you've ever wanted to watch us overthink tropes and emotionally spiral in public, this is your moment.
Come say hi, cosplay if that's your thing, or just lurk and vibe. We'll be thrilled either way. Okay, before we hit play on the trauma, 2 quick warnings. This episode contains spoilers for the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series, as well as Heir of Fire. If you're not caught up, consider this your official spoiler shield.
Just a heads up, this is an adult content show. We swear like people who were raised by morally gray characters, talk about murder like it's a kink, and when the spice hits, let's just say we don't fade to black. You've been warned, and you're welcome.
Last time on Heir of Fire, everyone was spiraling in their own special way. Chaol was dodging Daddy Dearest while trailing Aedion's secret rebel moves.
Dorian was busy emotionally combusting with Sorscha, magic outbursts, feelings, the whole, oops, I iced the room again package.
Aedion faked being drunk just to sneak off and meet rebel contacts, because apparently he's got layers now.
And Celaena still locked in a psychological death match with Rowan, while Manon and the Iron Teeth were busy starting their own murder dragon Hunger Games at the Fairying Gap.
This week, Celaena's still trying to figure out this whole shifting thing, while Rowan dials up the pressure and gets a little too close for comfort.
Manon's got a wyvern now, and the whole coven's diving headfirst into flight training, wing beats and blood included.
Dorian's isolating fast, but Sorscha's keeping him grounded, barely, while his powers start mutating into something more unpredictable.
And we left Chaol right as he stepped into the deep end with Aedion, and what they uncover? Yeah, it's not subtle.
All right, let's get into it.
But real quick, before we dive into the drama, yes, it's shameless plug time. Sub, review, follow us on socials, do all the algorithm things. It keeps this chaos train rolling and helps other book nerds find us before they disappear into another reading slump.
Speaking of chaos, follow us on socials for sneak peeks and spontaneous lives. And we are back to our regularly scheduled live on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on TikTok. Sometimes we deep dive. Sometimes Scott gets forced to read spicy scenes. Come hang out.
If you really want me to read a spicy scene, pick the book, pick the scene, and I promise you, I will read it.
I love that.
Also, get your ass in our Discord. If you've ever screamed about a plot twist at 2 a.m. and wanted someone to scream back, we've got you. The Chaos crew is growing fast, and yeah, it's unhinged in the best way. Links in the show notes and on socials. Come yell with us.
And if you're more of a visual gremlin, yes, we're on YouTube now. Full episodes, full facial expressions, and full spirals in glorious HD.
And hey, don't sleep on the Patreon. We're literally reading Throne of Glass live with you out loud, unhinged commentary included. Additionally, you get to help pick what we read next, vote on merch drops, and yes, we give away free stuff. It's hectic, it's communal, it's very us.
Also, if you're hunting for book recs, check out our current favorites on Amazon. We've got a running list located in our link tree. Yes, we know we're enabling your TBR pile. You're welcome.
Last but not least, check out the merch. We've got stickers, t-shirts, and more up at bookfor2.com. Go grab something mildly unhinged and aggressively on brand.
All right. Spoiler warning's been dropped. The tea is hot and the chaos is ready.
And now let's dive into Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas.
Let's turn the page.
Betray or Align in Chapter 9.
The trust fall heard round the world.
Swords are out and deadly secrets are dropped. Let's get into Chapter 19.
All right. This was familiar territory for Chaol. So for once, he didn't pull a brooding exit stage left maneuver. He just let himself get led. And oh, look who's here. Aedion, old man rebel from the warehouse. And warehouse douche junior, looking smug as ever. Seriously, the rebel frat boy energy is off the charts.
I remember these guys.
So the three of them, Chaol, Aedion, and our handsome sword-wielding Scarface.
Whoa, handsome.
That's what he was described as.
Yeah, I know. But aren't they all handsome?
Maybe. Start throwing around barbs and talking shit like they're on a battlefield-themed reality show. They ask if the king sent him, and Chaol gives them the, listen, I've been following Aedion, but I've also been looking for you. Casual stalking, classic Captain Westfall. Then Chaol flips the script and tells them they are in danger, and that they can't trust Aedion, which earns a literal ha 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 from Aedion, like a smug anime villain. But Chaol, he's locked onto that black ring like it just told him his horoscope. And then Aedion sizes him up and drops the line,
"You've turned out to be a far more interesting man than I've thought, Captain."
Then we get the real reveal. Aedion tells Chaol that from the moment he received the Sword of Orinth and that sketchy-ass ring, he's been playing the king.
What?
And thanks to his heritage, he could smell that something wasn't right with the ring. Smell. Here we go, smelling again. Not metaphorically, he literally sniffed out the evil in the ring.
So, the one he's wearing is a fake, and the other, he full-on rose from Titanic that thing into the sea, whispered, "Never let go," in everything. Then Aedion starts pulling all the pieces together. The King's Champion leaking info to Archer, smuggling rebels out of Rifthold. He's connecting the dots like he's just leveled up in a D&D campaign. But unfortunately, he lands on the conclusion that he's gotta kill Chaol after everything. All the near deaths, all the weird loyalty spirals, and this is how it ends. But then Chaol has his oh shit moment, realizes Aedion hasn't been betraying Terrasen. He's been betraying the king. Celaena's safe, and yeah, Dorian's still in danger. But Chaol makes the big-ass trust fall move and says it. Aelin is alive.
Okay, now we get our first POV from Aedion. And immediately, oof, he's been called the Wolf, sure, but also Otterland's whore.
Oof.
And he wore that name like armor because it helped sell the lie. It made him look cruel, dangerous, loyal to the crown. But the truth? His bane? Half of them are rebels, and the other half are sympathizers. So most of their so-called battles are actually straight up LARPing.
What?
They're carefully choreographed performances meant to keep suspicions low.
Real quick, I think about that movie, Role Models.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember where they're like LARPing and shit?
Yes. Okay. Well, the nicknames had never mattered before, but they matter now. Because Aelin, his queen, his beloved cousin, is alive. She was the reason for everything. And he had promised he would swear it in blood one day that he would serve her forever.
We also finally get the name of the scarred handsome guy, Ren Alsbrook. And shocker, he's a former lord. And grandpa, yeah, he's actually his grandpa, Murtaugh. Stop it. Lethal weapon, Lieutenant Murtaugh? I'm too old for this shit. All right, SJM, I see you. Now, on a serious note, Ren and Murtaugh were supposed to be executed. Ren's parents got them out, cost them their lives. Real heavy stuff. Now, when Aedion heard whispers of a rebel group talking about Aelin like she might actually be alive, he hauled ass to Rifthold to check for himself. At first, it was all rumors, but now it's real, and real changes everything.
Aedion still beats himself up for what happened to Aelin and her family, even though he was 13 and 40 miles away. Even though during service to the king, he found a way to get the Sword of Orinth back. Aedion failed his queen and his country, and his hope was fading. But she's alive. This changes everything. But Chaol will only tell Aedion by himself. So they had to show Chaol they weren't bluffing about torturing and killing him. Beat him up a little bit. Fair. And Chaol spilled the beans about Aelin Celaena's life, from when she was found by Erebin in Terrasen until now.
Ooh. Aedion couldn't believe it. She has your eyes, Chaol said. And just like that, the weight of everything he's done in the king's name crashes down. All the pretending, all the blood spilled, and now he's wondering, how the hell is she ever going to forgive him? Aedion tells Chaol he must have some big-ass cojones on him, because for all he knows, Aedion could still be sipping the king's Kool-Aid. But Chaol explains, the people wearing those rings, they've got dead eyes, empty. Aedion, he still looks like he has a soul. Plus, he's out here meeting with the rebels solo, no bane, no backup. If that's not a big flashing, I'm not mind-controlled sign, I don't know what is.
Chaol also swears Dorian doesn't know who she is, but Aedion's not worried about Dorian so much. He's worried about Maeve. Because sure, Aelin might learn to wield her powers over there, but Maeve is a spider. She doesn't train weapons, she wraps them up and waits. And Aedion, he doesn't have magic, but he has phase senses, and he's watching. So when he asks Chaol if she's coming back, he sees it. The ache behind the captain's eyes, the love, the pain. Maybe that's what keeps Aedion from snapping his neck right then and there. Instead, he says,
"Tell me more about those rings."
And Chaol, cool as hell,
"I want to make a bargain with you."
All right, let's go. Back to the beginning. So, what do you think about Aedion now?
So, I was wondering if he was going to be a good guy eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. I thought there's going to be a little bit more of him pretending to be a bad guy. And I was thinking maybe once Aelin gets back from Wendelin is when he was going to show his allegiance again. But now that this is happening with Chaol, I like it. I'm more curious to see Aedion's actual character now. Because now it explains why he was kind of shitty to Dorian all those years. He hated him for what Dorian's family did to his people.
Yeah, rightfully so.
So it wasn't just Aedion being a dick to be a dick. I mean, he was pissed. And I mean, he was making it look like he was being a dick to be a dick. But yeah, okay. It makes sense now.
All part of the charade.
Yeah.
Yeah. The masking. He's masking.
Yes. So one thing that helps him trust him, obviously, is the fact that Aelin's alive and the fact that Aelin is safe, which he gives props to Chaol. I want everyone to hear that. Aedion gives props to Chaol for saving the queen.
That's true. Yes, he does.
Just saying.
Yep.
Putting that out there. However,
yes,
what Chaol didn't know is now she's with Maeve. And Aedion, just like everyone else, is now saying Maeve is uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, well, we learned that she was the collector, right? So
yes. But we still don't know what that really entails yet.
That's true. We
have not been to Dorian yet.
That's true. I guess we got to get there eventually. So what do you think about this alliance then between Chaol and Aedion?
He wants to know more about the rings. Aedion does.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes back to the whole mind control thing. Can the king feel when he's mind controlling somebody? Because if his ring is fake, does the king know that he's not able to control that person or feel that person? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if you were controlling someone, you should be able to feel them in some way.
Because there's something that happens to Duke Parrington's eyes.
When he's controlling Caltaine.
No. Remember they were sitting at the dinner table and Chaol noticed that Parrington's eyes did like the black smoky thing and he kind of just froze a little bit and then it went away and he kind of snapped back. But he hasn't noticed that about Aedion. So I would think the king would know.
Exactly.
I'm wondering if the king doesn't know.
So I called the king a dumbass once for thinking that he didn't know anything about the tomb and the word key and Damaris and all that shit.
Yep.
I'm not doing that again. So this time I'm going to let SJM prove me wrong. I'm going to say the king knows and it's going to be bad shit for Aedion. Because why would the king act now? He probably wants to know the full depth of it. So he might have some people following them as well. Because especially if Chaol was that connected to Celaena, I wouldn't be surprised if the king has people following Dorian, Chaol.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why not?
I would.
Oh.
I would.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how the king wouldn't know. Or the ring's not fake.
No.
the way he reacts, though, makes me think not. I don't know.
I believe him when he says with his Fey senses, which is something we could talk about real quick. With his Fey lineage senses, he was able to smell the nastiness from the ring. And I truly believe that he Titanic that fucker into the ocean.
And that could be the same as Manon smelling going across that black stone.
So magical.
bridge.
So magic smells magic. So that makes sense. We talked about that last episode that magic can feel other magic.
But he doesn't have magic.
But he has the senses. He has the extra senses of a Fae.
He has Fae senses.
So he can probably sense magic. He just can't use magic. All right. So you ready to turn the page?
I am. Let's go. Time to break free in chapter 20.
Bite, growl, roar.
Welcome to chapter 20, where 8 days of biting sarcasm leads to actual biting and one hell of a shift.
Over the next week, Celaena's stuck in her training montage era, kitchen shifts by day, failed shifting attempts with Rowan by also day. Her only real win, eating dinner while Emmer's told old-ass legends like some ancient Netflix binge. Rowan was always there too, lurking like a bored chaperone, but she never asked why. Luca's still the only one talking to her. Everyone else avoids her like she's got magical mono, and Rowan, purely training hours. So yeah, she's crushing the self-isolation game again. Gold medal and emotional sabotage. Somebody get this girl a therapist. Stat.
And listen, trying and failing to shift every damn day, it's not exactly a morale booster. Rowan kept poking the bear, though, trying to provoke her into it, but nothing worked. And even though the barrows had been the only place it had ever happened, she told him she'd rather slit her own throat than go back there. So yeah, okay. The emotional spiral, still spiraling.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
Pissing yourself, vomiting.
No, I wouldn't want to go
Next
back
time
there.
you might shit yourself. Who knows?
Yeah, no thank you. Then on day 8, she finally asked him to shift. Cue the dramatic lighting, a flash, a ripple of color, and then bam, a hawk midair. And she immediately started scanning the ground for dropped weapons and pants because priority. But nope, the second she started thinking about it, he swooped talons first and then shifted back and was suddenly right there, growling in her face like it was the most normal thing ever. Shift! Side quest. I may have had to fan myself.
Yeah, I do believe, as SJM would say, your mouth went dry.
It did.
Yeah.
It did go dry.
Yeah. I saw it like full time while we were reading it. I was like, yeah, it's dry mouth right there. Celaena's jaw practically hit the floor when Rowan did his big dramatic shift. And of course, she had the one question we were all thinking. Where the hell did your clothes go? Between? Somewhere? Cool. Super helpful. Not at all weird or sketchy. Side quest.
Yes.
If you are a druid like moi in D&D and you are able to shapeshift into an animal like moi, then you will also understand that you can just carry your shit with you. It just absorbs with you when you turn into whatever animal you turn into.
So essentially between somewhere.
Pretty much. That's how you explain it. Nobody, it does not say in the D&D spell. It just says it goes there or you can drop it, whatever. Why would you drop it? I have no idea if you're able to carry it.
I like it.
The growling and the teeth baring. That's just standard communication now, apparently. Not exactly the let's hold hands and dance in the sun-dappled field vibe from Terracin. But honestly, this whole intensity thing might actually be her jam. If she'd just get her head out of her own ass. Too harsh? Maybe. But she's had zero therapy, so she gives it another shot, tries to visualize the shift, tries to make it happen. Nothing. Nada. Not even a sparkle.
So instead, she decides to get sassy with him. And what does Rowan do? He literally grabs her tongue.
All right. That made me fan right there.
What?
Dude, that's fucking hot.
Because he grabbed her tongue?
You want me to do it? I'll fucking come over there and grab your tongue.
That's weird. I'm going to bite you like she bit him. Whoa, what's happening right now? You're not biting my tongue. Well, she bit him, naturally. She tried to grab his daggers, aimed a knee for the family jewels, but he just stood there like the Fae Terminator. Then, as if things weren't already unhinged enough, he let go of her tongue and bit her.
Hell yeah.
Not metaphorically, not flirtatiously. He full on bit her. Fangs puncturing skin. Primal. Aggressive. She was so stunned, she just stood there. And then he bit down harder. And that's when it cracked. Not her bones, her control. She growled, shoved him off, shifted, and roared.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Have I made you growl when I bite you?
Yeah. I mean, you've growled when you've bitten me, too.
Well, yeah. I'm the one biting.
This was more out of anger. She's like, stop biting me, you jerk face.
But still hot though.
Oh, yeah, very hot. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, you're a biting fan.
I am, yeah. Just letting all my secrets out there, are you?
Hey.
Anywho.
Our listeners, we warned them in the intro, okay?
That's fair.
That we will say some shit.
We did.
Shit will be said.
Well, speaking of shit being said, I want to make a note for myself here. This is a quote. So they swore at each other, sat in brooding silence on the temple ruin, and occasionally had those unspoken shouting matches. Telepathy.
Back to that, huh?
Telepathy.
Telepathy, huh?
Telepathy.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was my takeaway from this chapter.
I'm not saying no.
Okay. Yeah.
But
you're not saying yes, and I understand. They could just stare and glare at each other. Those could be unspoken shouting matches.
I mean, as you always like to say to me, words matter. Okay, but seems like I know what you're gonna say. Did not appear. The word appear was not in there.
Right.
All right. So
want to argue word semantics with me, do ya?
So real quick.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Biting.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Okay.
So I'm new to romance, romantasy, dark romance, all that stuff. I mean, I'm very new. I am still dipping my toes in. I am very light on the romantasy right now. So is biting like a big thing for you ladies in these books? You've read a lot more of the Fae thing. So when he bites like this, is this more of a primal turn on for you guys? You know, the way he's taking over, like, I don't know how to explain it.
I can't speak for everyone.
I'm not saying, well, speak for yourself. That's what we are here for. Like, well, how did...
Yes.
Yes. Well, elaborate. So what is attractive about it?
It's primal.
Okay.
It's like the cute aggression, but ramped up in a more intense, intimate, sexual kind of way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, biting somebody is about as intimate as you can get. So, yeah.
Or aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, cute aggression.
Are you ready to turn the page?
I am. Let's go. One and done in chapter 21.
There you are.
Welcome to chapter 21, where Fae magic, fireballs, and emotional gut punches come standard.
All right. I cannot believe you're going to make me say the line, and you're serious about this. All right, ladies, if you do not want your fantasy like imploding, skip ahead. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. There you are. She straight up lunged at him, all hopped up on Fae magic and instincts. She shifted. Finally, her body's healing on its own, and that wildfire in her chest is rising fast, but she manages to shove it back down like a rage-quitting gamer holding in a controller throw. Then Rowan hits her with his ever-pungent pine and snow wind powers. Works 60% of the time, 100% of the time.
Nice.
And she answers like a true D&D pyromancer. Casts Fireball and takes out the entire damn forest. Cue Fire Whitehorn, coming in to extinguish the magical bonfire before they end up in the Fae version of Smokey the Bear's court. And now we get it. Rowan's not just training her to fight, he's on fire control duty.
Once the flames die down, literally, he asks the question, does Chaol know? And she says, yes, he knows, but not everything. You know, there are layers, and he doesn't have the whole truth or parfaits. So Rowan, in whatever half-feral, broody warrior language he operates in, tells her he won't bite her again. You know, because apparently biting women who belong to other men isn't cool in Wendelin.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, good. We're in the territorial werewolf boyfriend era now. Got it. Well, she lets him know it's over. Done. Finito. And Rowan, because he's basically allergic to emotional vulnerability, hits back with a cynical little and tells her, shift again. But her brain goes sideways, straight to Nehemia, and how she's starting to forget what her face looks like. And that pain is still there, still fresh, still screaming in the background. Until Rowan snaps her out of it, and she tells him, fine, just bite me again. Literally, not sarcastic. He just threatens extra kitchen duty, which she happily accepts because pissing him off is one hobby she can commit to. And then he drops the nuclear-grade cruelty.
You would probably have been more useful to the world if you actually died 10 years ago.
Excuse me, what? Sir, this is a Wendy's?
All right, that's some baby back bullshit is what that is.
That was rude.
Dick.
Well, Celaena had it. She was packing. She was done. She was over it. She had shifted. She had tried. And now she was taking what little dignity she had left and getting the hell out. Rowan didn't try to stop her. Of course he didn't. She'd find another way to get the word keys without his violent pine-scented attitude problem.
We're going to read a little bit from the book. Quote, "Is this what you do? Run away when things get hard?"
You're free of your obligation to train me, so I have nothing more to say to you, and you have nothing more to say to me. Do us both a favor and go to hell.
Have you ever had to fight for anything in your life?
She let out a low, bitter laugh and walked faster, veering westward, not caring about the direction as much as getting away from him. But he kept up easily, his long, heavily muscled legs devouring the mossy ground.
Heavily muscled, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're proving me right with every step you take.
I don't care.
I don't know what you want from Maeve, what answers you're looking for, but you...
You don't know what I want from her? How about saving the world from the King of Otterlin?
Why bother? Maybe the world's not worth saving.
Because I made a promise to my friend that I would see her kingdom freed. I made an unbreakable vow, and you and Maeve, all you goddamn bastards, are getting in the way of that.
And what of your own people? What of your own kingdom?
They are better off without me, just as you said.
So you'd save another land, but not yours. Why can't your friend save her own kingdom?
Because she is dead. Because she is dead, and I am left with my worthless life. Oh.
Rough. All right.
Okay.
Well, scene change.
Yeah.
Celaena didn't know how far she'd walked, and honestly, she did not care. Her brain was stuck on Nehemia, and everything else could go straight to hell. It was getting dark, and yeah, Rowan had definitely mentioned that this place is crawling with nightmare fuel once the sun goes down, so she needed somewhere to crash. Preferably not in a demon's digestive tract. She finds a cave, grabs some wood, starts a fire, eats a little something, normal camping vibes, not glamping like she would probably prefer.
Of course.
Yeah, Boujalena.
Boujalena always glamps.
Until she notices a bunch of glowing eyes staring back at her from the dark. That's cool, totally
the little
fine.
folk.
Yeah, it's cool, totally fine, nothing to worry about. But she did what Elena told her to do, what had to be done, and what needed to be done. Get the fuck away from dickhead Rowan.
Oh, all right. Well, that was a fun chapter. All kinds of exciting stuff happening. I first off want to start with, he says the line. That is the same first line, first three words anyways, that Rhysand said to Feyre.
Yes. And we did kind of confirm, we have not read Crescent City, that there is sort of a line that the MMC says the FMC that is not exact same, but it is in MO of SJM to put these type of lines for her MMC to say to the FMC, pretty much saying like, you've been like
hiding yourself.
Yeah, like here you are, you're mine. Like this is, I found you.
You
I
have found your final form.
Yeah. Well, I found my person. I found my soulmate.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're my soulmate. I found you, is basically.
Okay.
So there you are in your Fae form. But he's still saying that is who you really are. That is Aelin.
Yes, there you are. The other form is not you. This is you.
Which is still a very important line.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is who she is.
For sure.
And then he goes and fucks it up a little later with a line that we'll talk about in a minute. So he was picked for wind magic.
Yeah. Not just wind magic. Like, here, let me suck the oxygen out of your lungs and the air. Fire cannot go anywhere without oxygen. And it was that fast.
So that is if in the mutant world would be an Omega level power. Because if he can suck the oxygen out of somebody, and so I don't know how powerful he is, like if he can do it to multiple people, like how much he can suck in, but if he can do it to like a group of people, I can see why Maeve collected him.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, she probably collected him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yes, but also he is the yang to her yin.
That's true.
With the being able to put out her fires.
Mm-hmm. Opposites.
Yes. All right, now the biggest thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
What he said to her was rude as fuck. He deserved to get fucking hit the way he hit her for saying that, racist shit that she said. You'd be better off dead 10 years. The world would be better off if you had died 10 years ago.
Yeah. I can't say anything good about that. That is horrific. Girls, I'm going to need some answers from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
How do we still like him after this? Or is this an Amarantha type situation?
That's the only thing I'm hoping will make this better, is that he's being mind controlled, or this is not his true personality or some shit. But this is his true personality. And then he gets a redemption to where he's now the nice guy and shit. And then we don't give Chaol the same benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, but that's, what is it called? Double standard?
Yes. baby, we will give Chaol all of the chances.
It's not about Chaol. It's more than that. It's about, just
not having a double standard.
I'm sure Rowan is going to have a redemption arc. He's probably going to stop being an asshole. He's going to be sweet to Celaena eventually. We all know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pisses me off, because were the girlies not mad at Rowan here at this point, like we are?
Yeah.
Because right now, the way he's treating her is very shitty.
That was just a gut
Chaol
punch.
has never said a fucking thing like that to her. I don't care. What he said about her being whipped.
We haven't read Queen of Shadows.
I know we haven't read Queen of Shadows. I'm just saying to this point.
Yes,
to this point.
That is true.
He has not said anything near half the shit that Rowan has said to her.
No, even the what did you do to deserve the whippings was not even that bad. So.
No, because he thought she was just a regular ass criminal.
Yeah, that was right at the beginning of him getting to know her and them running or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know. Girls, you're going to have to chime in here. Don't understand.
And lest we forget, Chaol ran into a fucking portal and faced a goddamn demon to save her fucking dog. To save her dog.
Oh, gosh.
He really has to screw up in Queen of Shadows for me to hate this man. He really does. I'm sorry.
No, I understand, honey.
And I get why a lot of people don't like the Captain America guys, because they are boring sometimes and stuff like that. I'm not saying you have to love Chaol, but there's no reason for hate. There's no reason for the hate, is what I'm saying. That's all I give a fuck about. I don't hate Rowan. I'm just mad that he's being a dick.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, my soapbox.
I love your Chaol soapbox.
but that's why we love books, though, isn't it?
Yes,
like,
it is.
To make us passionate, and because we give a fuck.
Yes, you are super passionate about Chaol.
Well, I give a fuck about these characters, like, because everyone gives a fuck about these characters, and that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this podcast, why we're reading together, because we care.
Yeah.
This is exciting and fun, and it makes you talk about real life shit, just like we're doing now.
I love that the person you picked is Chaol, and I'm like, Manon. give me iron teeth and claws.
Look, because I defend Chaol, he's not my favorite, like Manon's your favorite. Right now, to be honest,
yeah.
And I'll be honest, we have read ahead because, we have to record and do notes and everything. Aedion might be close to one of my favorites now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because he's super loyal, but he's also kind of a morally gray character. And he's interesting. He's a very interesting guy. Yes, lots of layers. So I want to know more about Aedion. I'm not sure he's going to be my most favorite character, but I just don't have one yet in this series.
Yeah.
There's no one I deeply connect with, but I love all the characters. I love Dorian, Chaol. But Aedion right now is my most favorite to learn about.
I want to know when we're going to get more of Celaena. Where is she?
I miss her. I miss that woman so much.
I don't know. I'm super excited.
Okay, tinfoil hats.
All right. Are you ready to turn the page?
I am ready to turn the page.
Let's go.
Sparks Blue in chapter 22.
Surprise, motherfuckers.
All right.
Is that not what you asked for?
Cave camping turns into Skinwalker Sprint, and Rowan finally earns his rescue badge. Let's gear up for chapter 22, motherfuckers.
All right, her fire was still crackling, but the silence was all wrong. There were no more glowing eyes. There were no forest sounds, just stillness and a smell. She grabbed her spear and crept toward the cave entrance, not seeing anything, but she could feel it. And it didn't smell like the barrows, but it definitely smelled like death. And Rowan had told her not to light a fire. Idiot. She abandoned the crackling flame and slipped into the trees, quiet as a mouse. Once she thought she was safe, she looked back. Boom, a lightning flash. And there they were, 3 tall, lanky, not right shadows, checking out the cave like it was an Airbnb.
They stood like humans, but everything in her gut said, nope, not even close. Rowan had already warned her about the skinwalkers. And yep, these creeps were exactly what you'd expect. Lurking nightmares looking to snag themselves some fresh skins like it's a Fey Buffalo Bill cosplay. She ducked into the trees, taking bigger strides with each crack of thunder to cover the sound. Glanced back once more and surprise, surprise, skinwalkers were gone. Just poof, vanished. And yeah, that little fun death stench still very much getting stronger. Anytime now, Fire Queen. Clock's ticking and your skin's still very much attached.
She finally broke into a run, and she could hear them now, right behind her. Then, out of nowhere, she slams into Rowan, and he grabs her and pulls her into a hollowed-out tree trunk. She tried to quiet her breathing, and he told her flat out, if she didn't shift, she was Skinwalker stew.
Mm-hmm.
So she tried, reaching for that magic thread inside of her. But nothing. Again. Rowan's wind magic wasn't going to help either. Apparently, skinwalkers didn't breathe. She was too slow in this form, and the only way out alive, skin intact, was to shift to her Fae form. What form you take when we do determine our fate. Oh, that's what he says. As in, he wouldn't leave her, or he is bound to her in some way by Maeve? That was just an interesting choice of words. What form you take when we do will determine our fate.
I think it's the blood oath because he's bound to Maeve. So if she stays human, they're both fucked. If she turns Fae, then they can get out of there and outrun them.
Because he won't leave her.
Yes.
Okay. So he's not being loyal. It's a bonded, we die together.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She tried shifting again and boom, she shifted. Immediately regretted it though because her upgraded sniffer hit her with a wave of straight up corpse cologne. Instant nausea. Would not recommend, but no time for dry heaving. It was time to go. Toward the cliff, toward the river, because in case you forgot, no mortal weapon can kill these things. So maybe don't get caught. Rowan pulled a classic rogue move, used his wind magic to rustle the branches in the opposite direction, and for about a half a second, the skinwalkers took the bait. But then it was full-blown pursuit mode, with both of them sprinting for the cliff and the river like they were trying to glitch speed run their way off the map.
And then, M. Night Shyamalan-style plot twist, the skinwalkers talked.
What?
And they were like, oh yeah, we used to wear fish skins before we were humans.
Time out.
Yeah.
That's your skinwalker voice?
Oh.
Yeah, give us a skinwalker voice. Come on.
Oh yeah. We used to wear fish skins before we wore humans.
That's much better.
That's a big nope. Yeah. So not only are they gross and silent, they can swim. The river is not a safe zone. It's just another death trap. But Rowan had already jumped. And inside her, something snapped. The deep well of power tore open, and she realized maybe it wasn't about mortal weapons at all. Maybe she was the weapon. She leapt, spun midair. Skinwalkers were right behind her, and she screamed to Rowan, "Shift!" And then, at the skinwalkers shrieking in delight right on their heels, she threw her hands forward. Surprise, motherfuckers! Blue wildfire erupted from Celaena.
Celaena is sitting on the riverbank, soaked, freezing, and probably smelling like roasted cryptid. Meanwhile, Rowan, bone dry, must be nice when you can just shift out of your problems. She'd full-on incinerated the skinwalkers. They didn't even have time to scream. Now, Rowan's doing wildfire cleanup because she also lit half the forest up like it was a frickin' solstice festival. Apparently, she could have put it out herself. Rowan made sure to kindly point that out. Noted. She finally asked him why it's so important that she shift. His answer? Because it scares her. And if she can't learn to control it, she might burn herself right out.
Let's sit with that for a second, because this is where the stakes get real. Rowan drops the truth bomb. Magic has a limit, a well, and once it's empty, you don't just chug a Gatorade and bounce back. The stronger your power, the deeper the well, but the longer it takes to refill it. You can use it all at once on a big blast, or if you're strong enough, you can kind of portion it out. If you try to draw again before you're ready, though, try to tap into something that isn't there, you don't just pass out. You could fry your brain, your body, you could be a husk. And one of the reasons that she is shaking, that's not just the drama. That's her system sounding the fire alarm. Don't do this again.
Yeah, it's basically her nervous system just fucking going haywire. Shock. Yeah. Let's talk about iron. Classic fantasy tool of magic disruption. Chains, cuffs, collars, all the greatest hits. Same deal here. Rowan was once captured and basically gift wrapped in iron to just keep him from yanking the oxygen out of their lungs. Spent 2 weeks strapped to their tables being tortured, and now he's got a brutal scar wrapped around his forearm like a permanent middle finger to that memory. Of course, that slams Celaena right back into her trauma vault, straight to Sam. She tries to thank Rowan for saving her, but he brushes it off, says he took a blood oath to the queen, and yeah, he wouldn't have left anyone to that fate. He reminded her again that he warned her about the skinwalkers weeks ago. Insert dramatic, I told you so.
I wanted to take a note that she was right about Dawn being a problem for the skinwalkers, so if she had managed to keep running away from them, which she would not have been able to do. Anywho, the next time she shivered violently, she shifted back to her human form, and holy balls, it was even colder in her silly human form. Of course, Rowan just wants to know what finally pushed her over the edge, what made her shift. So she tells him it wasn't to save herself. It was to keep him from dying. And that he actually chewed on for a little bit, sizing her up. Then, in the most Rowan way possible, he shuts it down, says she's not leaving, that her punishment still stands. Double duty in the kitchens. And why?
Because I said so. That's why.
And then, because this bastard is both ice and flame, he tosses her his dry cloak and jacket, doesn't even look back, just walks away, all moody and immortal and maddening, heading back toward the fortress. And she followed him.
Yeah. All right. Skinwalkers were cool.
Yeah.
Like good monsters in a fantasy book.
It reminds me of something we've seen in maybe Supernatural.
Yeah.
I feel like we've definitely seen that in Supernatural, actually.
The only issue is you're taken out pretty quickly.
I mean, who is escaping the blue wildfire?
I want to see a fight. We haven't had a good fight in this book
I don't
yet.
think this was going to be much of a fight.
No. I'm just saying, I
like...
know. I'm just saying with her powers, yeah, easy peasy, crispy, crispy squeezy.
Crispy squeezy. All right. I thought the way she took him out was cool, especially the
I'm not saying it wasn't cool. She wanted to show how overpowered Celaena is and why she needs to be tampered down a little bit.
How she needs to learn control over it. She lit half the forest on fire around her. She did not catch herself on fire. She didn't even singe her hair or her clothes. She didn't melt the blades that were on her. So she had at least a bubble around herself this time. So that sounded like a tiny bit of progress.
Let's talk a little bit more about how magic works.
Okay.
So I like the fact that magic uses energy like anything else does.
Okay.
Like if you think about like exercising, calories, if you don't have enough calories, you're going to be exhausted. If you overexert yourself, you're going to hurt yourself. Isn't that right?
It's all energy.
Exactly. Energy exchange. So I hate it. And there's a lot of people like me when it comes to magic systems. Big pet peeve when magic just comes out of nowhere and there's no excuse for it.
There's no excuse and there's no end to it. Like,
yes.
How do you just have all of this and there's no end to it?
Yeah, because you have so many ways, especially now with physics and stuff like that, you can manipulate to say, here's how magic's created. And then no matter what magic system, whatever fake realm or whatever, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So you have to have somehow magic is created. So like the fact that they have to use their energy from their bodies to create that magic. And, lighting a candle would barely use any energy versus setting a whole forest on fire like she's been doing, which is exhausting her.
It's going to be interesting when she learns how to control this.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Now, I'm not saying it's a brilliant magic system. It's a very simplistic. It's just like energy exchange, calories in, calories out is basically what she's doing. It's not like Brandon Sanderson with Mistborn. The magic users have the ability to use it, but they have to ingest the metals, the certain metals to use that type of magic. So that makes sense because, again, that's an energy exchange, but it's a really cool, unique energy exchange where this one is just like, oh, you just got to eat some food and then magic.
It's like an elemental exchange in Mistborn. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's lazy. I'm just saying it's a very simplistic magic system, and that's fine.
No, it's different. That's not the focus.
No, it's not the focus. Her story is the focus.
So far, she's been explaining how it disappeared and what's going on. So I feel like SJM's not going to let us down, and she's going to cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
She's been doing that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people lately have been giving her shit, saying that she's a shit writer. I've been seeing this all over TikTok. We're not going to get into the whole book talk controversy, but when people saying that SJM's a shit writer can go to hell.
I think it's funny that we keep seeing all over TikTok, this series is a lot of people's Roman Empire. This is it. There are some people, I think you told me, there's a lady that rereads it every year.
Mm-hmm.
What? Mm-hmm. That's insane. And these people may or may not be deep diving like we are.
Yes.
So, I guess if they're just reading at surface level, which is how I usually read books, maybe. But there are so many little nuggets.
Yes.
And like mysteries that you could go on, little side quests. Oh, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because you know how I love words. And
now, do I agree that this space is now starting to get a little saturated with the same shit over and over because everyone's trying to cash in on the whole Fae thing? Because, let's face it, she wrote these books in like 2012? No, but she was 16 and she's about our age. So even earlier than that. So she wrote all of this before it all became popular. The whole Fae romance shit, even ACOTAR as well.
Yep.
All this stuff didn't blow up until after COVID because people were bored. So they read.
She began writing it in 2002 when she was 16.
2002.
She spent the next decade refining and rewriting it. before it was eventually published in 2012.
There would not be this Fae stuff, these worlds, without SJM.
Well, thanks to her and probably several others.
Well, yes, but what I mean is she is not a shit writer. These other authors would not have the availability without Throne of Glass and ACOTAR. And those are facts.
Okay. Spitting facts over there.
Spitting facts.
I love it. Well, let's talk about some more facts. Blood oaths.
Those are facts.
Those are facts too. And they seem to be a really big deal to everyone around here. Because Celaena swore one to Nehemia, and Rowan swore one to Maeve. Aedion wants to swear one to Aelin.
It's no different than old knight oaths back in the day, like with Lancelot and Arthur. You know, knights would give their blood oaths to the kings and stuff like that. So Fae still live by those rules, and I like that.
Are you trying to get blood oaths?
What?
Are you trying to get some blood oaths?
I already got one from you.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Last but not least, figured out what's holding her back. We knew what was holding her back. Fear of the fire.
Fear that she can't control
Just
it.
fear of herself, fear of her ability.
Yes, and rightfully so. She doesn't know how to control it. Nobody's taught her how.
That's what Rowan's trying to do.
I know, but she's still scared.
Stop being scared.
I don't know what to tell you. She's still scared. But she's following him back now, so she's still willing to learn and willing to train. So I'm there for it. Hopefully he'll be slightly less of a dick.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too.
I doubt it, but we'll see.
Ready to move on and turn the page?
I am. Let's go.
Like Willie, set him free in chapter 23.
Let the selection begin.
She claimed him with blood, bone, and stubborn will. Welcome to chapter 23.
Okay, so for the past week,
Manon.
and the Blackbeaks have been out here doing their murder drills, flying with the practice wyverns, not stabbing anyone in the mess hall. Real growth. But now it's the day of selection, and all 42 witches are gathered around the pit, like it's opening night of So You Think You Can Fly? One by one, the wyverns get released into the arena to show off just how unhinged they truly are. If you want to mount, you step up. If two people want the same one, apparently you draw straws. Straws? The 13 sharpened their nails for this. We don't do straws. And Manon, she's got her eye on the biggest, meanest bastard of them all, Titus. Of course, she knows Petra and Iskra want him too, but she doesn't care. That beast is hers.
Manon stood at the edge of the platform, eyes locked on the pit. First thing she noticed, the bait beast, chained to the wall, tail spikes sawed off like some twisted chew toy. One by one, the wyverns came out, tore into it like they were auditioning for Monster Hunter, and got claimed. Still, no Titus. Then, Petra steps forward and claims the massive female wyvern, close in size to Titus, but a whole different brand of lethal. And not in the flashy way. More like blink and your liver's gone stealth. Astrid grabs one too. Vicious, silent, efficient. Right move to keep her spot in the 13. Then Petra gets chatty. Slides up next to Manon all purr and politics, teasing about her waiting for Titus. And yeah, Manon is waiting. So what? Then Petra drops the curveball. She wants Manon to have Titus. Why? What's in it for her? Iskra joins in, of course, because nothing screams fun like air-on-air tension. And Petra, braver than she looks, tells Iskra she thinks Titus should go to Manon. Something's up. Either the blue bloods are scheming, or Petra's just a rare breed. Not a total asshole. Jury's still out.
Yeah, there's no time to unpack Petra's psychology because, bam, Titus comes barreling out like a medieval freight train. The men barely make it out before he turns on them. He doesn't wait for the whistle, though. He doesn't wait for anyone. He just starts attacking the bait beast. Full chaos. But then he doesn't go for the kill. He just starts pacing, deciding, like he's planning. And that's when you realize these things aren't just vicious. They might be smart. Manon's spine is tingling when Iskra decides it's shove o'clock and straight up pushes her into the pit. You want the beast? Go get him.
Manon dropped 40 feet into the pit and her ankle paid the price. Wrenched it bad. She could hear the noise from above, but she wasn't about to look up, not with Titus locking in on her like she was the next course. And between her and the only exit, him, just standing there built like a brick house, and all she had was Wind Cleaver, which next to Titus looked more like a damn toothpick. He launched. She rolled. Did the world's most painful hobble sprint toward the gate, right before his tail caught her mid-run and yeeted her across the pit. Slammed her straight into the wall and knocked Wind Cleaver clean out of her hand. But weirdly, Titus didn't rush in for the kill.
Because, oh shit, behind her, the bait beast was still there. And Titus actually growls at it like, back off, this one's mine. Oh, okay then. And here's the twist. The bait beast looks at her, not like prey, but like a fellow warrior.
What?
Yeah, it's giving enemy of my enemy realness. So Manon does something absolutely batshit brilliant. She runs, grabs her weapon, and frees the bait beast. Meanwhile, Titus is charged. The bait beast tackles him out of nowhere, and Manon bolts. Then the pit echoes with this massive boom. And when she glances back, the bait beast is actually holding his own. Tail to Titus's chest. We're in full gladiator mode.
What the fuck? This was ridiculous. Titus was uninjured, twice the size, and the bait beast had been used as a literal chew toy all damn day. How the hell was he still standing, let alone holding his own? Then came the move. Tail feint, followed by a clean, calculated slash across Titus's chest. That's when Manon froze. 15 feet from safety, and she just stopped. It took both teeth and tail for Titus to finally chomp down on the bait beast and get him in his jaws. Yeah, this looked like the end of the line.
Except Manon's still standing there. She doesn't care who wins. She's not sentimental, but there's something pulling her toward that bait beast. So she raises Windcleaver and hacks off a piece of Titus's tail.
What?
He roars, and that's all the bait beast needs. One final lunge. One final strike, and Titus goes down with his throat torn out.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
Still, Manon doesn't move. Everyone's yelling at her to get out of the pit, but she can't look away. This creature, this bloodied, brutal, unbreakable survivor, he's mine, she says. And she is his.
Manon named her wyvern Abraxas. It took 30 men to haul off what was left of Titus. 30. Imagine that.
That's a lot. Oh,
yeah.
I can't imagine how big he was.
This dude went out like a beast, but he still went out. When she returned to the others, Astrid had Iskra by the throat, but Manon shut it down with a single line.
I must have lost my footing.
No way was she letting Iskra walk away with bragging rights for nearly killing her. And honestly, Manon was in no shape to throw down anyway. That fight would have to wait. But rules is rules. Since Astrid failed to protect her, she took 10 lashes, full force, straight from the Yellowlegs heir herself.
I feel like that's an extra punch in the face that the Yellowlegs heir got to do.
That is, but rules is rules.
Rules is rules.
Rules is rules.
Well, then came the dressing down by her grandmother. And it wasn't just harsh, it was surgical. She carved into every inch of Manon's pride. She had humiliated the Blackbeak clan, derailed her grandmother's carefully orchestrated plan, and worst of all, picked a mount that might not even be able to fly or runt. How could that lead legions into battle? But Manon didn't crumble. She headed straight for the pen where Abraxas was chained up, determined to see for herself what she was working with. When the handler said it could be months or never before Abraxas flew, she didn't flinch. She simply told him flat out, she's only going to be training with Abraxas. He warned her, train him alone. The others would tear him apart on sight. And yeah, maybe he thought the wyverns couldn't understand what was being said, but Manon wasn't buying it. She saw the way Abraxas was watching, tracking, thinking. Maybe he was different. And if he was, then she was going to bring that out of him because she didn't fail. And now she had a point to prove to her grandmother, to the other covens, to everyone watching. Manon Blackbeak was about to take her broken beast and win the damn war games. Bum, bum, bum. Woo! All right. That is very interesting. Did you expect that to happen with Titus and Abraxas?
Yes and no. At first, I think I got as excited as she did when I heard about Titus. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the one.
Because, I mean, clearly he's the biggest, he's the baddest, so why wouldn't Manon have that?
It was too obvious. It's SJM. Honestly, when I heard that the females were smarter, I thought that she was going to get a female, that like Titus was some big badass, but then some female was going to beat the crap out of Titus or something, and she would end up with a female. But, I mean, she still ended up with a different one, but because he's survival.
Yeah, a warrior. I love that they had that moment. And speaking of that moment, Manon had felt the ebb and flow in the world, an invisible current. Some had called it fate. Some called it the loom of the three-faced goddess. Mm-hmm. She felt that both times toward the bait beast.
Okay.
And that was what she was like, oh, I'm supposed to release him from his chain, and I'm supposed to help him right now. Like, she was 15 feet from escaping. She was in no danger. And then she stopped and put herself back in danger.
So what you're saying is with the three-faced goddess that this was fate was supposed to happen?
That is what she is saying.
Okay.
She said she felt the ebb and flow, like an energy pulling her toward the bait beast. Some people call that fate. Some people call it the loom of the three-faced goddess. I don't think she subscribes to either of those things. She just felt what she felt. She felt drawn to do what she did.
I mean, it's also just could be metaphorical for the way she felt. You know, that she just felt a deep connection to Abraxas, and that was the invisible current. Just like with us, like we feel a deep connection with something and we say, oh, it must be fated that, you know, we...
Yeah, no, I understand. She alluded to it twice, though, which makes me think that there's something there. SJM doesn't do stuff like that on accident. So if she says it again, I'm in.
Words matter.
I know, words matter. Speaking of words mattering, what did the conversation between Manon and Petra mean? It was weird. She also wanted Manon to get Titus and even told Iskra that. So she drew a line like, hey, we're on a team together and we're excluding you.
You think it was that, or do you think these witches are all about themselves? You don't think that she was just trying to start shit between the two other clans?
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but that I don't think she really had to, because Iskra and Manon are already at each other's throats.
Yeah, but it might as well stoke the fucking flames a little bit.
Yeah, poke them
Yeah,
both.
just poke the bear, see what happens.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because it's not her fault. She just said something, and it's on Iskra or Manon to act at that point.
That's true. Okay.
Just saying. But she also might be telling the truth and maybe does want Manon to lead. Could also be that too.
Maybe there's something really wrong with Iskra.
I'm sure there is.
I mean, Manon is not a nice person. So
none of them are nice.
None
people.
of them are nice.
Yeah.
So, I wonder what it is about the other two. I wonder if it's just a power thing.
Probably.
The Blackbeaks want to be in charge.
They all want to be in charge.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's just that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fight for power.
As per usual. Do you think she was wise or to pick this bait beast?
Yeah. Fucking wreck Titus.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Even though he's so small, even though he doesn't have his tail spikes.
As a personal trainer myself, I have seen wonders from people that you would be like, there's no fucking way.
Okay.
So for instance, one of my favorite stories I always tell people when you underestimate what you see. When I was, I think 12 or 13 years old, I was at the YMCA just shooting basketball. Like I used to go every Saturday when my dad would work out, and I would just shoot. And I normally had like the gym to myself on Saturday mornings. So I would just practice and shoot around for like hours until he got done. Well, this kid came in, same age. He only had his left arm. He was missing his right arm, right? And so he was shooting around. We were bullshitting. And he was like, do you want to play one-on-one? So I was like, yeah, why not? So I thought, okay, let me lay off him a little bit. Bad idea. He destroyed me. He destroyed me because he overcame his handicap. So I think with someone like Abraxas, he's injured now, yes. But with his determination and his survivability, and that's what Manon saw in him, that get him healed up, get him trained, and he'll fly.
I love it.
Don't give up on people.
Yeah, she saw something. Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover.
Bam.
She saw something in his eyes.
I'm pointing to my heart for people who can't see. It's all about heart.
It's all about the heart.
All right. Speaking of heart, you ready to turn the page?
I am. Let's go. Not a bore in chapter 24.
Secret, spies, and Ash River eyes.
Chaol may have the eye of Celaena, but it's Dorian's eyes that finally open. Let's get into chapter 24.
Chaol got back to the palace and lied to his men about the bruises like it was just another Tuesday. His deal with Aedion was simple. He'd give more info on Aelin and the creepy-ass rings, and in return, Aedion would spill everything he knew about the king's powers. They agreed to meet in the tomb under Celaena's old room, and of course, Chaol brought the eye of Celaena, but Mort, silent, no snark.
Aw.
No ancient riddle nonsense.
I miss him already.
Guess the talking doorknob only works for House Galathinius.
Interesting.
Guess Chaol's not Alice in this wonderland. Mort's not talking. Sorry. Anyway, when Chaol brought Aedion into the tomb, the guy barely flinched, except for one little twitch when he saw Damaris. After that, it was just business. They both confirmed they were still on board with the info swap. Then Chaol dropped the line, "Your queen."
Well, someone's ears were burning because Dorian is at the stairwell listening and absolutely not believing that Chaol and Aedion are in the tomb together. His secret brooding staircase is apparently not that secret anymore. And also, these two hate each other. What the fuck? When he hears it, "Your queen gave this necklace to me when she left for Wendelin."
Ooh.
Delulu's world is crashing down. Every lie, every omission, every time they patted him on the head and said, "Don't worry your pretty little princely mind," he's still short-circuiting when Aedion finds him, and then suddenly, bam, he remembers where he's seen those eyes.
When he saw Chaol, all Dorian could say was, "Why?" Chaol hits him with the classic security answer. Fewer people who know, fewer people in danger. But Dorian's not hearing it. The betrayal's loud, especially since Chaol went to Aedion before even talking to him. Chaol explains why Aedion made sense, and Dorian, already reeling, turns to Aedion and asks the question, "Are you going to kill my father?" And this right here is probably one of my favorite lines in the whole book so far.
Oh.
Does he not deserve to die?
Ooh.
Yeah, the fucking Lulu. How does that feel, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, even Aedion knows
that
your father deserves some. Yeah, so that hit like a punch to the ribs. No notes. Dorian, still processing, asks if Chaol told Aedion about him too. But Aedion just says he already knew and gives him a heads up. Get it under control, fast. People are going to notice soon. Then Aedion connects the rest. Why Chaol's been desperate for help. What he's trying to protect. He even calls out Dorian's ice powers right to his face.
Chaol tells Dorian to trust him, and Delulu hits him with another zinger.
Because you want to be Aedion's king someday?
Whoa!
Oh, shit! You don't say that.
Whoa.
No.
Dorian. Then Aedion chimes in with,
"My queen will die heirless sooner than marry a man from Otterlin."
"Ooh, okay. That's not helping, bro. Bet you could cut the tension in that tomb with a knife." Well, Delulu's spiral continues. If Celaena is Aelin, then when she said, "I'll come back for you," did she mean to help him or harm him? Uh-oh. Words matter.
Words matter.
And honestly, she'd be justified either way after everything she's been through. Chaol tries one last time to say it's all for him. It's all to keep him safe. But Dorian promises to keep their secrets while also making it painfully clear he wants no part in them, and he has pulled his ice back to himself and then wrapped it around his heart. Yep.
Aedion dipped out through another one of the palace's secret tunnels. Needed time to process the absolute bomb Chaol had just dropped. He already knew the king was playing with some dark shit, but Baba Yellowlegs being at the castle? That detail rattled him. Whatever the king and the witches are cooking up is not good and probably catastrophic. And yeah, they're not handing out mind-controlled jewelry like party favors unless something massive is coming. Later, Aedion met up with Ren and Murtaugh near the Aviary. He told them Chaol could be trusted, but didn't mention all the details about Aelin. Not yet. Those cards stay in the deck until he knows she's really coming back. They pushed for more, tried to corner him for details, but Aedion reminded them real calm-like exactly who had the upper hand in this alliance.
He tells them to tell the court, if they can find them, that she's alive. They just don't know where yet. Then we get the name drops. Lord of Surya, Ravi, and Sol. The plan is to try and recruit them to the cause. Well, who's going? How do they pitch in? Aedion's like, why bother with people we have to convince? I mean, that's fair. You don't need to convince them. But Ren and Murtaugh point out, well, some of these people don't know her for shit. Of course, they're going to need convincing. She's been gone for 10 years. Where's she been?
That's fair.
Then we get some more names. Survivors from Orlan's inner circle. Some loyal to the king, some just gone. So they shelve that idea and focus on the Surian lords instead. Aedion does respect Ren. He and Murtaugh have been through hell and never gave up. They're not friends. There's still some heat there about Aedion getting picked for the blood oath. Another blood oath thing. But they're solid.
Quote, "When she returns, what she will do to the king of Otterland will make the slaughtering 10 years ago look merciful. And in his heart, Aedion hoped he spoke true." End quote.
That boy has some deep hatred boiling down in his bones.
But now you kind of see why I like him a little bit now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to like my guy here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
we start off back in the tomb, and that's when Chaol starts dropping everything that has happened since the murders in Terrasen when she was 8 all the way up until now, like her whole life with Arobin, everything.
Yep.
And then the Lulu.
Oh, no.
So, okay, how do you feel about Chaol not telling Delulu about Celaena?
He has said repeatedly that he is doing it to protect Dorian in case he is tortured.
Just like he was doing it to protect Nehemia, just like he was doing it to protect Celaena. So there's a pattern here. And I do agree that
he thinks he knows better than everybody.
Yes, and that I can see being a problem with Chaol. This is something that he needs to grow, that he needs to allow people trust. Because you and I mentioned when it came to Celaena that he should have went to Celaena and said, hey, what I can tell you might put you in danger and could get you killed. Do you want to know this information?
And
Give
she
them
would
the
have said
option.
yes.
And just like with Dorian, they've already been through the shit with the portal and everything and the monster, right? So Dorian knows about his father. So what I can tell you about Celaena could get her killed. You killed, me killed. This is up to you if you want to know this. You give them the choice because these are people you love and trust.
Yeah, but he's worried that they're out to kill his dad, who he just learned knows all about the word keys. He's evil. He's the cause of the giant creature mutilating all of the participants. Like, I don't understand how he's still this Delulu. But yeah, does he not deserve to die?
Oh, fuck yeah.
He deserves to die in the most horrific way possible.
Again, Dorian's still his son. And it's the same thing, father and son. Like, you
can walk away.
You can walk away. And I agree. And he should walk away. And that is a fault of Delulu. And that's why we call him Delulu.
Well, maybe he will continue to grow because he is growing. He's growing in every book.
Well, what he said to kill was very fucked up.
Yes, because you want to be Aedion's king someday?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So a little bit of jealousy there.
For sure.
Came out of him.
Like, why does he not know that Chaol and Celaena broke up?
He does, but I still think he's a little butthurt, and that's understandable because he had a thing for Celaena, and then your best friend, and then you're out of the loop, and then you're dealing with this magic shit, and you got nobody there for you.
And you know things that Dorian doesn't know, and Dorian was closer,
and
supposedly.
now Chaol's keeping shit from you, and he was supposed to be your best friend for your whole life.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
I mean,
Dorian's
they're all going through some shit.
I mean, to be fair, then Aedion chimes in, my queen will die heirless sooner than marry a man from Otterlin. So
he's basically stoking the fucking fire.
So all three of them are just like...
He's like, he sees these two about to pop off. He's like, I'm going to start some shit too.
I'm going to throw a jab in.
Fucking Terracin women are way too good for your punk ass bitch Otterlin asses. That's basically what he's saying.
Basically. Oh, man.
Surprised they didn't turn on him because they're both from fucking Otterland.
Well, now he's caught on to the I'll come back for you. Could be a threat, a promise, or a threat.
Now you say words matter,
mm-hmm.
but now context matters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about how she said it to him. Was it softly like, I'll come back for you? Or was it...
SJM did not put that information
That's
in
what
there.
I know. It's for us to speculate. It's for us to tinfoil hat.
Oh, my God.
We got to speculate it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think she said it like, kind of like, I'll come back for you? Or did she say it like, I'll come back for you? Then fucking bound. Like, oh, shit.
I think she said it that she would come back for him as a friend. I think she knows that he is not his father.
But with this new information that you just learned, I'm sure he's still a little pooping himself.
Yeah.
The greatest assassin in the world is now your mortal enemy.
Yes, that's a good reason to be a little shitty.
and now she's with her auntie.
Yeah, and learning and hanging out with the other Fae. That can't be good, right? Or so he thinks.
You might want to denounce your father now.
Yeah.
Save your ass.
Yeah.
You ready to turn the page?
Yes, I am. Let's go. 4 Unalive in Chapter 25.
Echoes in the ruins.
Temple ruins, glowing stags, and a body drained like a Capri Sun. Welcome to Chapter 25.
Well, Rowan wasn't kidding about the double kitchen duty, but hey, silver lining. No one's threatened to skin her alive this week, so we're calling that progress. Still, she couldn't shift on command, though. So yeah, back to square one. Every day they hit the temple ruins to train. Is this another temple run game?
Maybe. It sounds like one.
Every time I think about this, I also think about that game on Nickelodeon. I know that you didn't get a chance to watch it growing up, unfortunately, but Gardens of the Hidden Temple. There you go.
Yes.
God, that was such a fun... I missed 90s Nickelodeon.
Okay. Was that a game show of some sort?
Yeah, it was a game show.
Okay.
It was so much fun, too, because I remember it back when... I wouldn't say my dad forced us to go to church. He really didn't. But we'd have to go to church on Saturdays, and we'd come home, and it'd be right on. As soon as we got home from church, like at 5 p.m. on Saturdays, we'd watch that and Guts.
Is that the one that had the slime?
No. So Guts was like a legit mini Olympics for kids. It was...
Oh.
Yeah, and then at the end, they had to climb the mountain called the Crag, and then they got a piece of the Crag at the end, the winner. But they did obstacles against each other and stuff. It was really cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore, do they?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, that was a really quick squirrel 3 sentences in.
Yeah. Anyway, back to it. So, Magic still scared the hell out of Celaena, and she wasn't going to pretend otherwise.
Today, after 2 miserable hours of failing to shift, she just got up and started wandering around the ruins. And she noticed something strange. The pale stones, they were glowing in the sunlight. And then she heard whispered prayers carried on the breeze. And her magic was reacting. We find out that this place used to be the temple of the sun goddess, Mala. Lady of Light, Fire, and Learning. But then it gets messy. There's this whole confusing lore dump about Maeve, Mab, Diana, Mala. Listen, I read it like 12 times, and I still can't untangle who was related to who or became who at what point, what realm they came from, why any of it matters. So
I'll give a quick breakdown at the end of who those three are.
Okay, thank you.
She's still wandering around the ruins, pelting Rowan with questions like an overly curious intern on Zero Coffee. Then she finds a stone block, brushes it off, and boom, stag carving appears. And this time it did appear.
From under the dust. It didn't magically appear.
There was also a glowing star between the antlers. Now, this is straight out of the stories that Emrys told. Also, a little side note, Rowan says the temple was abandoned. Emrys said it was destroyed. So someone's lying or editing the past. Propaganda, maybe?
Then she asks him something that's clearly been gnawing at her. How did the king of Otterland manage to hunt and kill the Fae so easily? Rowan says the Fae in Terrasen weren't like the southern ones. Most of them are focused on using magic and skipped the combat training. So when magic vanished, they were basically helpless.
Maeve didn't send help when shit hit the fan, but she did open her borders to any Fae who made it south. That's the royal equivalent of thoughts and prayers. The next day, Celaena pulls breakfast kitchen duties solo, so she's running late for training again. She tries to smile at a few people in the halls and gets reactions like she's just growled at them. Did she forget how to smile? Probably. It has been a while with everything that's happened to her.
Right.
She might have looked like she was baring her teeth before a fight.
They do that a lot around here, so maybe it did. And once again, as though reading her thoughts, he tells her they've all been keeping their distance.
As though
reading her thoughts. What do you mean?
As though, not reading her thoughts.
He came
as
up
though.
out of nowhere going, oh, she's, no.
Words matter.
He's reading her thoughts.
Okay.
Anyways, he tells her they've all been keeping their distance because of the way she smells. Not like bad smells. No, just scenting her emotional state or whatever Fae nonsense this is. And right now, she smells like she doesn't want to be approached. So they don't. Here we go again with that scenting and smelling thing. But Celaena, she's fine with it. Let them keep their distance. She doesn't want anyone near her. She doesn't even want to think about anyone else's body above hers if it's not Kale Chip.
Yeah, Kale Chip. Real quick, though, imagine how annoying that's got to be being Fae. And like anytime you're emotional or moody, people can just like smell you and be like, oh, there's Brenda being a bitch again, being all moody.
I feel like that would be helpful. I wish people did that because then I'd just be like, oh, she's being super cunty today. Let me avoid her.
I mean, I guess, because then, you would not have to guess like what kind of mood they're in, and then you wouldn't have to tiptoe. Okay.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, they're in a bad mood. Let me see if I can fix it, or let me just avoid them because I don't have the spoons for that. Like, then you get to decide.
Well, I get that, but then you have the opposite thing where if you're horny, they can smell that too. So if you're just walking around horned up or something like that, they're going to be like, ooh.
Listen, in these type of worlds, that's a thing. They're just hypersexualized. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Today's training came with a detour. Instead of the usual beatdown at the temple ruins, they headed west and found themselves a nice little surprise. Well, not so nice. A corpse wedged between rocks in a stream. The woman's body was a husk. No blood, no wounds, just drained dry. Skin bleached out like old parchment, and her face was frozen in this twisted final expression of horror. You ever seen The Ring?
Yes.
You know, like after they die, that face, they make those...
That is exactly
what I pictured.
Yes.
So what the hell did this? Well, time to be useful, Celaena. Put that upgraded nose to work. What do you smell?
Oh, she didn't want to, but wait, she knows that scent. She has smelled it twice now. Once in that blood-soaked chamber 10 years ago, and again in the barrows. This is exactly what that creature does. Even Rowan confirms it. After the barrows, she had come out looking pale, bone-deep pale. Freckles were gone and everything. So she tells him how the thing made her relive her worst memories while it fed. Tells him what it looked like. Asks him the very reasonable question. How the hell do you not know what this thing is? And Rowan just shrugs like, meh, lots of monsters in these woods. Can't know them all. Cool.
Facts.
Cool.
That's fair. That's
cool,
fair.
Thanks.
Fair.
Super helpful.
I mean, it's fair. Every time you go to the Brazilian rainforest, you're finding new species. Every day they are.
That's true. Okay, that makes sense. They can't know everything. All right, well, he's not super helpful. And they think about asking around in the village, but it's already late in the day. The spooky murder mystery stream time is over for the day.
Turns out this is body number 4 in the past few weeks. But here's the weird part. None of them had been reported missing, not a single person. All of them found near water, give or take. The barrows incident, still the weird outlier. Each one was the same, face frozen in horror, body sucked dry like a juice box from hell. And the bodies weren't dumped in the river, which would have been the easy move. No, these were left out deliberately, almost like a warning, a message. Rowan can't find a single thing they all have in common except the silence around their disappearances.
It's time to head back to the fortress, but Celaena's not leaving this woman to rot alone in the woods, and she insists on taking care of the body first. But the ground's too frozen to dig, so they go old school. Ancient traditions, ancient burial, and Celaena, she goes full caveman mode and lights the pyre by hand instead of using her magic, which was probably a good move. She could have lit the forest on fire. Rowan doesn't mock her for it this time, though. Doesn't question it. He even uses his wind to help the flames catch faster. This was a rare moment of quiet respect between them. She did try to summon her magic, though, while they were standing there, just to see if she could do it, and she still came up empty. Aww. They stood in silence, watching the pyre burn to ash, sharing this moment.
So here's the three sisters explained. So you have the three main sisters, Maeve, Mab, and Morgan, sometimes called Mor. Now, Mor eventually became the goddess Deanna.
Okay, so Mor became Deanna eventually.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Mor was Deanna. Okay.
So she is the goddess of the night, the goddess of the moon, hunting and stuff. So then Mala is her exact opposite, goddess of the sun, lady of light, fire. And that statue that they saw in the kitchen, the one holding the saucer or whatever, the plate.
Yeah.
I think it's Mala because that makes sense, having the two opposites. But it said that they didn't hate each other, right?
Celaena said perhaps Deanna and Mala weren't always rivals. And Rowan said, "What are you getting at?" And she shrugged. So I honestly have no idea what this is alluding to at all.
So this will be something later on. This
so
is
confusing.
Yeah, and this is just SJM just planting things for later on. SJM just alluding to the gods are watching her because here at the temple, things are lighting up, and she's also the goddess of learning as well. There might be more to it. I'm trying to tinfoil hat this one. The gods are going to come into play eventually.
Of course.
I just don't know how. I do think that the statue is Deanna and Mala because it makes sense having light and dark, yin and yang. Makes sense for the statue.
This whole is she mortal or immortal thing is bothering me. She's mortal in human form, but she's immortal in fae form.
We do get a hint of that with Rowan, with what he says, but I think the way it works, and this is not spoiler for that, I've already thought this before. We've talked about this before. When she's in human form, I think she's immortal. Or I think she's mortal. And then when she's in fae form, she's immortal. And I've seen that a lot in different stories and TV. Like if you switch forms, then you take that form. It's the same thing with D&D. When I take that form, I take the stats of that creature,
So question then. If the witches came down here to the southern continent, would they all get their powers back?
Yeah.
Why did they not do that?
Why would they? That's not their home.
Oh.
They have an ancestral home.
I would be really mad that I lost my magic, and I would.
Yeah, but then what are you going to do after that? You're not going to conquer Wendelin. Maeve's going to stop you there. So you're going to get your magic, but once you fly back to Otterland, you lose your magic.
Well, I just want to hang out with my magic. I don't care about my family home anymore. I just want to hang out with my magic. I have abandoned my family for magic. Sorry, everybody. Well, they are on the side of, I'll call it evil. As far as the king of Otterland is concerned. So
they just want power. They just want their ancestral home back. They want power. They crave power. King has the most power. There's nothing they can do about it. So they're going to work.
Align themselves with.
Align yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. We are failing at that.
It's all about survival for the witches right now.
Yeah.
All right. Then we get another appearance from a stag.
Yes.
I have seen the symbol on T-shirts with the stag and the star.
Yes.
In between. So I'm sure there's more to come with that one.
And that's sun stags. Okay. Very cool. I wanted to talk about the fact that she had smelled this smell before in her parents' bedroom the night that they were assassinated. Okay.
Are you sure there's just not alluding to the smell of a shit ton of blood? The iron and blood?
No, she said that. She said the smell had been there. She said her parents had been assassinated. She had seen the wounds, so she knew that they had been assassinated, but the smell was there. This is the same smell that Manon is smelling. This is the same thing that Aedion is smelling.
Yeah, it's the king's magic. That's what everyone's smelling.
It's because of their Ash River bloodline. Oh, I'm fucking calling it. Manon is Ash River somehow.
But why would only Ash River smell it? You don't think Rowan smells it? Does Rowan not smell it?
I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't sound like it. He's not talking about any kind of smell.
But it's not Ash River senses, though. It's only Fae senses. Because the Galathinians are Fae too, full-on Fae. I would figure they would smell magic like this too.
Why?
Why wouldn't they?
What if it's just something in the Ash River bloodline?
What makes the Ash River so much better than the Galathinians?
I don't know. It's not necessarily better. It is something genetically modified to sniff out whatever this is.
I mean, could be. And speaking of genetically modified, I have a feeling that's what this creature is. It is, if that smells there, I don't think this is a vampire anymore.
What do you think it is?
Something that was created.
Oh.
If it has that smell, it was either created or it has some type of Valg lineage. Because that's the smell they're smelling is from that other world, the Valg shit. So this creature is not a vamp, but it does suck the life force out of people by putting them in that fear state.
She said he was gorgeous.
That you can still be gorgeous and be a monster.
No, I'm just...
Well, I think what it's doing is a lot of... If you think about what creatures do, like some predators, they'll put a toxin in them to paralyze them. So that's kind of what I think it's doing, is put them in this fear state, which paralyzes them while it's draining its life force out of its prey. All right, you ready to turn the page?
I am. Let's go.
One small fix in chapter 26.
Hearts on fire, powers on mute.
Chaol and Aedion aren't the only ones with trust issues. Let's wrap up this week with chapter 26.
Chaol hadn't seen or heard from Aedion or Dorian since that mess in the tomb. He'd heard whispers that Dorian was spending time with one of the healers in the catacombs. Good. The prince needed someone to talk to, and Chaol would do anything to protect him, even if that meant staying away. But if the tomb was off limits now, he needed a new meeting spot for Aedion, so he went for the one place he knew no one would think to look, Celaena's old apartment.
Smart.
The key had been a parting gift to him, and stepping into that place, it was like walking into a memory sealed in crystal. Ornate furniture hidden beneath draped sheets, everything still and preserved. That was probably Arabin's doing. This was Celaena before Endovir, before she was the king's champion. A glimpse of the girl she used to be, and maybe still was, deep down.
Speaking of Arabin, Chaol had been chewing on that one a lot lately. Why Celaena hadn't gone for him after Endovir. The man practically owned her before, and now, nothing. No revenge mission, no reckoning. Chaol wanted to take care of it himself, sure, but that wasn't his call. That kill belonged to her. When Aedion finally showed up, they did the usual, are we about to get jumped? Glance around, but when it was clear no one brought backup, Aedion stepped fully inside and just went silent. This was his first time seeing any trace of Aelin's old life, her space, her history. Chaol caught the shift in him and quietly stepped out to give him a minute with it.
Aw. Aedion just stood there trying to absorb it all. The dining room table draped in Terrason's royal colors. The stag figurine resting like a silent guardian on the mantle.
Oh, whoa. So she had a stag decoration in her room.
Of course she does.
Okay.
She loves stags.
Carry on.
Books, so many books, stacked and shelved and spilling into corners, trinkets from all over the world. This room wasn't just a hiding place. It was a map of her life, of every story she had lived. And then came all the Celaena touches. A literal cooling box, a marble-tiled bathing room with its own plumbing system, which had been a requirement, a 4-poster bed so luxurious it looked like it had eaten a cloud for breakfast, and the clothes. Oh, the dresses, the jewelry, the kinds of things you don't just wear, you command attention in. And somehow they still smelled like her, and he stood there, surrounded by her world. Aedion did something he hadn't let himself do in a long time. He let go. He forgot, just for a moment, every monstrous thing he had done to survive. None of it mattered now, not really, because when Aelin came back from Wendelin, when, not if, he wasn't letting her go again.
Now it's time to swap intel. Chaol ready to get the download on everything Aedion knows about magic. Aedion starts off strong with a warning. Don't bet on magic to save you, and besides, he says, Celaena wouldn't be anywhere near the battlefield if she had powers. Yeah, okay, Aedion, good luck keeping her on the bench. We're siding with Chaol on this one. Anyway, backstory time. The executions had already started before magic vanished, but on the exact day it disappeared, Aedion remembers something weird. The birds freaked, they flew one direction, then scattered, and then the screaming started. Some people just dropped dead, like an artery had snapped mid-step.
Oh my goodness. And it wasn't just some birds. There were 2 distinct waves of birds. The first group flew north-northwest, just bolted. Then a second wave came up from the south and shoved the others further north. Like something from the center of the continent sent them all flying. Endovir? Maybe. Or even further south, maybe the Farian Gap. You know, the place crawling with wyverns and whatever the hell Manon's doing out there. And Aedion specifically points out, no birds came from the 3 southern kingdoms. Not a squawk. Noted. Chaol starts connecting the dots, drawing a mental line from Rifthold straight to the Farian Gap, like something launched itself from one to the other. And that second wave of birds, that's when the magic actually stopped. Chaol casually drops that magic's been illegal in Otterland for decades. Well, that's good to know. And honestly, I'm over here wondering, did that conveniently happen when Dorian was born?
Apparently, Ren and Murtaugh felt it too. Same animal panic, same freak out waves of energy, and they were all the way in Skull's Bay when it happened. 2 massive pulses the day magic died. The day that magic died. Then 6 months ago, they got pulled back to Rifthold, trying to crack the code on what really happened. Maybe even restore Aelin's magic. But the twist, the deserted peninsula had 3 waves. A merchant from Xandria remembered one coming from the north, then southwest, then one last internal blast. Jen immediately thought Farian Gap. Then, poof, magic was gone. And a week later, the Lord of Xandria got the clean sweep memo. Kill or lock up anyone, registered magic. Real subtle.
And then Aedion got real dickish about it. Says, Murtaugh knows more, but you'll have to wait 3 days for the next drop. Which understandably pisses Chaol off. That was it? Just some stories? And then Aedion turns it on him. How can you even stand to work for that monster knowing what he has done? And Chaol actually answers honestly. He thought he was doing the right thing. That's what he was taught. That they were bringing peace and civilization to the continent. That the people in labor camps deserved it. They were criminals. They were rebels. They were illegals. They hadn't slaughtered innocent Otterlandian families. It was all propaganda. It was easier to believe when you didn't know any of the people firsthand. But then Celaena came. Her scars, then Nehemia's people, their blood. He couldn't look away anymore.
Sounds like some parallels. Aedion presses again. How many Otterland citizens would actually fight the king? Would they follow Dorian? But Chaol shuts that down hard. He doesn't want Dorian anywhere near this, ever. And if protecting him means pushing him away, so be it. It had been a hell of a week for Dorian. First, Aedion and Sorscha both knew about his powers now, and second, he was still losing control of them by the day. The stronger they got, the harder they were to rein in, like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a bucket. The one upside, every afternoon he'd sneak off to some forgotten workroom with Sorscha. They'd dig through old texts, try to find out ways to dull the magic without turning him into a human fire hazard, and sure, drugging him was technically on the table, but not plan A, obviously.
And for the hour they got to spend together each day, Dorian could actually breathe. Sorscha didn't flinch, didn't judge. He didn't have to pretend to be the crown prince or keep his hands clenched to avoid flaring into a magical inferno. He could just be. So they got creative. Turns out before magic vanished, they used iron to subdue gifted prisoners. Solid iron, since magic couldn't penetrate it. Cue the idea. Maybe a little iron in the bloodstream might tone things down. Not a full metal diet, just a spoonful of treacle laced with iron. Sorscha hands it over, he drinks it, and then it's timed for the test.
So today he focused, really dug into every memory that hurt, anger, sadness, guilt, the usual emotional buffet. That's what usually kicked things off. And boom, just like before, the magic surged, roared up from deep inside him like it was ready to explode out his throat. But this time, nothing. It stalled. Got choked out before it even could manifest. It worked. He was so hyped, he straight up jumped up and kissed Sorscha, pure instinct. She didn't flinch, but yeah, she definitely pulled back. And not in the hell no way, just surprise. They'd meet again tomorrow, but maybe she didn't want to be kissed. Or maybe she just needed a minute.
Ooh la la. Ooh. All right, let's go back to the top before I get distracted by the kiss. All right. So, oh my gosh, there's so much happened in this chapter. So much information. So real quick at the top part, I want to talk about Erebin.
Okay.
Do you think he knew who she was when he found her?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Wow.
After reading Assassin's Blade, you're shocked by that?
And what he did to her knowing who she is?
You're shocked by that after knowing him? What he did to Lysandra? You're shocked? Especially what Chaol thinks, that he's cool with her being in Dovier, waiting for her to crawl back to him because, again, like I said, he owns her in his mind.
You totally called that one.
Yeah. He is your textbook narcissist. He is your textbook billionaire who thinks that they own people, that people are
property.
I'm
very upset about that right now.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we get another view from Aedion when he steps into his cousin's apartment and sees her life. That has to be really hard to, at first, think that she's been dead for 10 years as a child. And now you walk into an apartment seeing a life that she's had this whole time. Like, that was very hard for him.
It was hard, but I think he was also glad to see that she had lived, that she hadn't just rotted away in the slums of somewhere doing nothing, just barely scraping by. She had lived. I mean, not with him, which he's very upset about, and he's very disappointed in himself for what he's done. But that was all because he needed to survive, and he thought she was dead.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a very emotionally impactful thing for him.
Yeah. All right, so we got the easy stuff out of the way. Time for the hard stuff, all the tinfoil hat theories, because there was major dumpage.
Yes. So Aedion's talking about he noticed that there were 2 waves, right? So he's up in Orin, I assume. And he notices that the birds go northwest, which is toward the frozen wastes. And then the second pulse pushes them back northeast even further.
Mm-hmm.
So the second pulse came from the center of the continent is kind of how he described it. And the center, the closest thing to the center is the Farian Gap. And even when Chaol asked him about it, he said, oh, from Parath? And he said, no, further south. Oh, Endovir? No, further south than that. And Chaol accused him of not being able to see that far, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, that's why I think there's like 3 different antennas, which it would explain the triangle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's definitely 3 different places, because then Ren and Murtaugh said they talked to the guy from Xandria, from the deserted land. So they caught a wave, it sounds like, from the north, and then the second wave from the middle. They got 3 waves. So they caught that one from the north. They caught the one coming from, because it hit them going back across toward, I assume, Rifthold. And then the third one, which I assume comes from the Farian Gap. So Xandria caught all 3. So it sounds like up in Terrasen, it caught the first one. So from Rifthold to the Frozen Wastes, caught that pulse, and the final one.
Okay.
So the Frozen Waste probably caught 2 as well.
Okay.
I don't know, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm saying Farian Gap is the center or the hub of something, or that general location.
I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Aedion said none of the birds from the 3 southern regions came up there. So if there's a pulse, they're going to push out. So anything south was going to go further south, not north.
So there's a lot of parallels.
Yes.
To the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And how they got power. So, for instance, making magic illegal for decades. So, and then start registering the magic users.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have your plan set in place, 1939 Poland, boom, you unleash everything. And then you take out Terrasen, and then you have Lord of Xandria rounding up magic users.
Well, it sounds like the executions had already started before magic disappeared, is what they said. So that's interesting that had already happened. I guess maybe they were getting a little too much pushback from the magic users.
But I want to say the biggest thing here,
mm-hmm.
when Aedion is asking Chaol about why you still served with all this going on for 10 years, and he was like, the biggest word, propaganda.
Yes.
Propaganda.
Yep.
If someone is that far in, because again, Chaol is that far in, he's grown up with it with his father. His father is obviously in league with the king and what he's doing. And so, of course, you're going to lie and say, oh, the magic users, that's probably what they did. Magic users are bad. They're doing this, they're doing that, kind of like what they did with the Jews. They said the Jews were doing this, stealing your money. They're the reason why Germany's poor.
They were telling them that the reason that Aderlanians were dying was because of magic users.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you create this lie, you create fear, and I'm going to fucking say it. When Trump calls the left like deplorable and say that the radical left and all that stuff, the reason why he says it that way is to get into the brains of his constituents that liberal people are evil.
We are less than.
We are less than people, yes.
Yep.
And that's what they did to the Jews, too, in Germany. Less than, because they're taking your money, they're doing this, blah, 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 creating all these lies and propaganda.
To you.
Yes.
Against you.
And I could give 2 fucks if we lose listeners. We have 1 listener left. After this, I don't give a fuck, because right now it's at that point.
Okay.
I'm serious. It is at that point with this administration. I'm just saying. And like this chapter is exactly.
Do you think Dorian would go against him, and would the people follow him?
Maybe.
I don't know how Dorian is with the people.
He's looked at as a playboy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He'd have to prove something.
He's not the same as Gallon Ash River. Like, all of the people there loved him. Dorian isn't that person here. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she pull back?
He's a prince, and she's a healer.
Do you think it was just because she was surprised? Or
No.
do you think that it... Really?
Mm-hmm.
But she's
him,
in love with him.
Doesn't matter. It's not her world.
So, go for it, girl.
Yeah. She's not going to.
Aw, okay. Well, I have hopes for her still.
No one fucking cares. Everyone's just living their fucking life. No one cares.
I won't say that no one cares.
They don't fucking care.
What about the hundreds of people, I don't know how many exactly it is, outside of what is now Alligator Auschwitz?
Yeah, hundreds out of what, millions?
I don't
give a fuck?
I don't know how many people are there. That's why I said hundreds. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. It's not going to stop it. Not going to stop anything.
I don't know what to do to stop it.
The people that we elected to stop it refuse to stop it because they want to be part of it too. So fuck it.
Well, maybe we could put them in it then. They can try it out first. There we go. Let's let them try it out first for 60 days. And anyone who's left, we can talk to them.
Yeah. So you can kiss my ass if you say books aren't political. Parallels going on here, but might not be murders right now that we know of. But there's people are dying in these ICE facilities.
And there's no telling what's happening in El Salvador. For the quote unquote criminals, the people who have no crimes, who've committed no crimes, the people who are getting deported, even though they are going through the legal process, which is exactly what you guys were bitching about. You didn't go through the legal process. Okay, so these people are being deported who did go through the legal process.
Who are showing up to their immigration hearings and being pulled out. You have to, the fucking Pope has to send people from congregations to walk these people to their appointments. And you don't see anything fucking wrong with that. You can fuck off and stop listening to us then.
These masked, no badges, no warrants, no nothing motherfuckers. No.
Yeah.
And there are already people impersonating them. Just no.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone, but this is the times we live in, and it is what it is. I mean, we're not going to stop talking about people's rights, and I'm not going to stop fighting for people's rights while I can. So if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to us anymore. I promise this will be a one-off. Hopefully, books are political, and we are finding that out right fucking here. So if you don't like it, don't listen to us.
I'm with you, babe.
All right, you ready?
I am.
Welcome, Seekers of Secrets, to Assassin's Whisper. I am Obsidian, sharp as a blade, clever as a riddle, and never where you expect me.
And I am Garnet, the shadow you sense but cannot see, and the voice that carries truths only the bold dare to hear.
Together, we are the keepers of whispers, guardians of the secrets of Aurelia, entrusted to pass them on to only the most cunning assassins.
This is your covert briefing, a recap of what has transpired in the world of Aurelia. Pay attention, assassin. The truth is a weapon, and we're here to make sure you wield it well.
Listen carefully for every whisper.
Welcome back, my deadly darlings. The whispers have been waiting for you, and this week, they trail through kitchens, combat rings, and memories that don't stay buried. Celaena Sardathian scrubs pans by day, bleeds under Rowan's training by night, and still can't shake the weight of Nehemia, Chaol, her past, or who she was born to be.
And Rowan, he's not here to coddle. His job is simple. Push her hard enough that she either burns away the lies or burns out trying. Dorian won't wait, and neither will he.
Back in Rifthold, Dorian is still unraveling. His magic surges without warning. His loneliness cuts deep. And the only thing grounding him is a healer who wasn't supposed to mean anything, but somehow does.
Chaol's torn between duty and suspicion. His father demands his return to Aniel, but Aedion Ash River's shadow games in Rifthold are impossible to ignore. Now, an uneasy alliance forms. The goal? To uncover the truth behind the King's rings and how to stop what's coming.
Far north, wyverns scream over the Farian Gap. Manon Blackbeak trains with her 13, but her choice of mount, a scarred, unlikely bull, raises eyebrows, especially with her matron. But Manon didn't choose a beast to impress. She chose a survivor.
From mountain wind to palace corridor, the pieces shift, and the fire underneath it all is starting to rise.
Celaena, Dorian, Chaol, Manon, Rowan. The threads pull tighter, the storm builds, and nothing stays buried forever.
Until next time, walk the shadows and trust only the whispers.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Booked for Two.
Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to help other book lovers find the show.
Follow us on socials at Booked for Two Podcast for behind-the-scenes content, updates, and sneak peeks.
Join us for our live Q&A. We are back to Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Central on TikTok. We'll answer your burning questions, react to your theories, and occasionally overshare our book-related emotional damage.
Want even more chaos? Join our Discord. The link's in our bio. Come hang out, chat books, and get early access to exclusive content.
Finally, don't forget to grab official Book for Two merch at bookfor2.com.
Until next time, keep turning the page.